Happy MoviePass Monday, everybody. It's Moon Pies, and yes, it's June 4th, and we still don't have these family plans that MoviePass promised we would have at the end of May. But I don't want to make this a downer video, and in fact, I want to make this about the three things that MoviePass has been doing in recent days to try to become a more viable business model. And as we know, the MoviePass model itself does not work on its own because it is paying more for the product than you would on your own on average for many different reasons. So it's pretty weird how this model has gotten up to 3 million. Clearly some members, obviously because MoviePass is willing to lose a lot of money until it's done losing a lot of money and the next phase of the MoviePass saga takes over. But let's talk about three cool things that can actually make the model, while not completely viable, at least losing less money along the way. So the first of all is 2 weeks ago, they actually sent out a promotional offer to all members that you can now get Avengers Infinity War, the digital copy through Vudu, that's VUDU.com, a relatively popular on-demand, you pay for digital video site. You get $5 off to get the digital copy when it comes out. Now, it's kind of interesting and ironic and sort of cool that they're doing Avengers Infinity War, because that was the first movie. When that movie came out was when MoviePass said you will not have any more repeat viewings of any movie from this point on. They did it the day after the Wednesday, Thursday premiere. So it sort of said the second day you would have probably gone to see it, they said, no, you can't do it anymore. So they're saying, hey, if you want to see this movie a second time, a third, fourth, fifth, a zillionth time, why don't you buy a digital copy, and instead of paying $19.99, which is by a lot higher than you can get at most places, they'll give it to you for $14.99. So not only are they saying, you're thinking, oh, they're giving me $5 off. Of course not. MoviePass is not dumb. They're working with Vudu specifically to get these promotional codes out there, and anyone that uses them, I am fairly certain that MoviePass gets a piece of the action for acquiring a new customer or something along the way, since odds are most MoviePass customers are not registered with VUDU.com. So there's that way. It's sort of like affiliate marketing. The second thing that happened, this was just a few days ago, they teamed up with Laurel Road, and it's not Yanni Road, it's Laurel Road, even though you may be hearing it the same way. And this is an online funding company that they're FDIC insured, they're a legit company I guess, and they're teaming up with MoviePass to basically refinance any student loans that MoviePass members have. And if you do refinance through this association with MoviePass and Laurel Road, you get a free year of MoviePass. And of course, Laurel Road, the claim is that you'll save up to $20,000 in interest. Again, I'm not even going to look into that because it's just too far out of my expertise on this. But obviously, Laurel Road is going to be giving MoviePass a lot of money, just as financial commissions go for financial products. If for every person that actually goes through with this, MoviePass is going to get a lot more than it's going to be shelling out for that 1 year of MoviePass subscription for everybody that does. So it's an interesting way, and also I like it because, first of all, it shows that MoviePass understands their target market. Most people on MoviePass are not like me with gray hairs on the beard. They are young people, not even millennials, just young people. But many of them are just fresh out of college or in college, and they do have student debt. And obviously, this is one thing that if you can refinance at a more attractive rate, even though a lot of people do have pretty attractive rates on their student loans, if you can find something, and if Laurel Road's able to provide that for you, it's a win-win. MoviePass gets their money, Laurel Road gets their lead, and you get a year of MoviePass and kick a little more coin into the coffers of MoviePass to keep them going a little longer. So expect more of these kind of affiliate marketing deals. This is what is so cool about the MoviePass model, if you think about it. If you want it to succeed, is the fact that as it grows, it was up to 2.7 million members at last count. It may be up to 3 million at this point. It'll happen soon, and I'm sure Helios and Matheson and MoviePass will be announcing it from the rooftops when it does happen, and hopefully it's not them jumping off the rooftop, but them announcing these milestones. The bigger they get, the easier it's going to be to get companies interested in them, to say, hey, wait a minute, I want to push my product in front of these 3 million people that are normally not movie theater goers, or they love movies and they love to save money. I can't reach these people through many other conventional ways. I'm going to go through MoviePass and pay them if they can send leads my way. So this is really, it's been known that advertising and marketing and selling data is going to be part of the model. They're not necessarily selling data, but they're actually sending marketing messages to their entire user base that is growing. And as long as the base is growing, sure, the losses are growing too, but they're going to be able to reach a wider audience and be more attractive that way. So it's definitely, you may not be interested in the Laruel product. You may not want to spend $14.99 for a digital copy of the Avengers Infinity War movie. For some of us, once was enough. For others, you'll be watching it forever, and you probably already found a way to secure it. But these are interesting things that they're doing to make a little more money on the side, a little side hustle that's perfectly legal, perfectly legit. And it's what you have to do if you want to buy more than a ticket, more than a movie per person, and spend more than $10 for that $9.95 subscription. MoviePass needs to find a way to start offsetting some of that loss. So we go from there to the third thing, and that is obviously the big deal. This is probably what they were alluding to. Back in the Cannes Film Festival, they were saying, Ted Farnsworth and Mitch Lowe were both sort of just saying that, hey, there's going to be big news coming out of this. We can't wait to announce it. And the festival came and went. We didn't get an announcement. We're like, I guess nothing's going to happen. But sure enough, they did announce that they're actually teaming up with EFO. That's Emmett Furla Oasis Films. And again, I don't know Emmett Furla Oasis, but I'm familiar with many other movies like End of Watch, Rambo, Amityville Horror. I assume it's the reboot of Amityville Horror, not the original, and a few other movies, Escape Plan 2. I didn't even know there was a first one, much as the second one. I hear they're working on a third one. There's an asteroid movie that they're working on. Either way, they're sort of getting into a deal with production. So right now what they have is an option to purchase the library and a majority stake, which would be a 51% stake in this company. And EFO, the Emmett Furla Oasis Films, would keep the other 49%. And where this is interesting is that it's almost like what's happening now with American Animals, and that's what the last thing I'm going to close on. But it's an interesting thing that they're doing because they're actually going about and saying, all right, let's say we have a hand in the movies. We can make movies more successful because we can market them to their 3 million and plus and counting. Who knows if we are really at 5 million at the end of the year, as they were once hoping earlier this year. I've not seen an updated target, so let's assume that they want to be at 5 million members by the end of this year. If they want to get there, and they're actually producing films, they can steer people towards these films. And right now, in its original state, you're thinking, well, no, if they send someone to see one of these movies, like the Gotti movie or the American Animals movies that they've already purchased rights for, they're losing money because they're not making these $10, $12 that they're paying per ticket back just from the movies. Obviously, all money, they're just one of the partners in these films. The money gets split between the multiplex operator and, of course, the actual company, that's the producers and the distributors. And, of course, there's also all these other fees that come along, these distribution costs, and all these things that really it's not a matter, it's not at one. Do not read the box office of American Animals in a month and say, oh, well, they must have made a killing because it made this amount. But it is actually setting the tone for what will be in the future. So let's talk about American Animals. American Animals, as you guys probably know, is that one movie that every time you open up that MoviePass app, boom, you see the American Animals stuff. It's based on a true story. 4 guys that tried to rob this library of this very valuable book that was in it. And again, the movie's doing well. It's gotten a pretty decent Rotten Tomatoes score. I think it's up to like 84%. So it's well-liked, but it's definitely a very indie film. And it opened in 4 theaters this past weekend, and odds are, unless you lived in New York and Los Angeles, where they were 2 in L.A., 2 in New York, you did not have access to this movies. But you've been promoted this movie. Just like on television, they promote movies months, if not weeks, at least weeks, sometimes even months, ahead of its actual release. So there's priming the MoviePass members to get excited about American Animals when it does hit their local theaters, which will be starting to happen as early as next week. In the next few weeks, it will start to basically, penetrate the rest of the multiplex world. It will never probably get to small markets, and even in large cities, it may only be playing in a theater or two. It's not that kind of mainstream movie. But what's interesting about this movie is the statement that it'll make. So basically, a couple months ago, they teamed up with The Orchard, which is a small little studio, a small little distributor, and they acquired the North American theatrical distribution rights. So they don't own this, American Animals, what it will do in digital in the future, or any kind of residuals or anything like that beyond just what it can get, theatrical distribution. They bought those rights. So what's interesting about this is that I looked up The Orchard, and the highest grossing, Orchard has put out dozens of movies. None of them have generated more than $5.5 million in box office receipts. So Orchard puts out really small indie movies that play in really small markets and really don't do a lot, usually about $1 million, $2 million each is usually about the average that it's been for those films. So American Animals has a very good chance of being the first film to break out of that. And it's not going to be easy because it's not playing in a lot of theaters. And despite the great Rotten Tomatoes reviews, a lot of great Rotten Tomatoes scores, reviews, critics love movies that bomb financially. So this doesn't mean that it's going to be a shoo-in. But the exciting thing about this is if you work the math. All that American Animals has to do to become the greatest, highest grossing movie in Orchard film history is $6 million in box office tickets. And you're thinking, well, that doesn't seem like much. Yeah, it's not a lot if you're opening in 3,000-4,000 theaters and screens across the country, but that's not happening, obviously. It's a much smaller movie. But for it to get to $6 million, all it really needs is 1 out of every 5 members, MoviePass members, to go see the movie. So that would be enough to get it to about $6 million, and not to mention the fact that a lot of other people do it. So MoviePass is not going to make a profit off that if just MoviePass people use their cards and they used to see it, but it will actually let Hollywood know we are difference makers. And just the same way that Netflix did back when they put out the very first original series was Lilyhammer, and it didn't do very well. And then came House of Cards, and then came Orange is the New Black. And then came Stranger Things. So then they started having these hits, and all of a sudden everybody wanted to get their stuff on Netflix. And this is what could happen here. If American Animals is successful, and I mean $6-7 million will be a success. The more realistic figure is probably $2 to $3 million, but if it actually gets to $6, $7, even $10 million in domestic North American ticket sales, this is going to have every single indie movie director thinking, how do I team up with MoviePass to get my product in front of these 3 million diehard movie theater goers? That's when things get cool. That's when things start to happen. So that's why, even though you're thinking the model's losing money, can MoviePass even stay in business at this point? They're, first of all, giving you deals like the Vudu deal to get $5 off, where they're going to make a cut piece of the action. They're trying to get products that are actually resonate with the audience, such as refinancing student loans, and that they will probably get a much larger piece of the action for everyone that goes through with that. But then there's also this production side. The fact that if they have more sway in how movies succeed or not, the platform itself will become more viable, and everyone else, not just a matter of, we know multiplex owners, most movie theater, at least AMC and some of the larger chains, do not like MoviePass for what they're doing, devaluing the product. But the movie makers, the studios of Hollywood, the ones that have just basically ignored MoviePass right now, if this happens, if an American Animals is a hit, they're going to have to pay attention. They're going to have to take notice. They're going to say, how can we work with MoviePass? And once studios start working with MoviePass, then MoviePass, the theater owners have to work with MoviePass. And it'll be a lot easier to get a lot of stuff coming as far as raising financing and getting investors for a product that's losing money for the company doing it once all these things start going around. So 3 interesting and exciting ways that MoviePass is trying to stay in business. And that is it. That's it for MoviePass Monday. I am Moon Pies. I will see you next week at the movies. Sort of.